This is MFT Raw, and here is some camera news. In just a few days, Sigma are due to announce a new lens for Sony E-mount and Panasonic and Leica L-mount. This is expected to be the new 60 to 600mm f4.5 to f6.3 DG-DN OS. This is actually an update to the DSLR version of this lens, which has been out for a few years. For a while now, Sigma have been producing mirrorless versions of their DSLR lenses, which are a little bit more compact and more suitable to mirrorless systems. This will be done through an online launch event scheduled for the 12th of January. The Sigma 60 to 600mm will be constructed of 27 elements in 19 groups, with a minimum focusing distance of 45cm to 2.6 meters. With its massive 10 times zoom range and fast speed considering its focal length, this will be a huge lens, most suitable for wildlife photography. It will have a filter thread size of 105mm, so those filters are going to cost a lot, and weigh a massive 2.5 kilos. Now, I'm a huge fan of Sigma lenses. They typically have first-class build and image quality, and they're usually razor sharp, even wide open. Plus, they're always very competitively priced for what they are. The DSLR version of this lens, which is available for Canon EF and Nikon F mount, retails for about £1,700, so expect a similar price, if not a little bit more for this one. If you're a Nikon Z mount shooter, then you should be quite excited for the announcement that Nikon made at CES this year. They announced what could be their most affordable lens and maybe one of their most expensive at the same time. The most affordable one is the 26mm f2.8 pancake lens. A proper pancake style lens with a nice bright f2.8 aperture, making your camera compact enough to be able to shove it in your pocket, great for street photography or if you want to be a bit more discreet. This is an FX lens, meaning that it will cover full frame, and Nikon say that along with its slimness and lightness, it will also offer high rendering performance. While the other lens, which occupies the other end of the spectrum, is the Nikon 85mm f1.2s. Now, everybody loves a fast 85mm lens, perfect for professional portraiture shots, and with that f1.2 aperture, Nikon say that their S line demonstrates outstanding optical performance, adhering to high standards of design principles and quality control. They also say that this new lens will expand on the possibilities of portrait photography. I know, pure marketing speak, but it is pretty much guaranteed that this is going to be a spectacular lens. Not much else is known about this lens apart from the fact that it will have an 82mm filter thread. From the images they've released, it seems that it has two control points, one large rubberized focus ring, and the other I would assume would be an aperture control ring, although it's not entirely clear right now. There's no word on price, but expect it to be bloody expensive. Panasonic have, I guess you could say, penciled in two new lenses into their lens roadmap for full-frame cameras for 2023. One is a prime lens and one is a zoom. The prime should be a 100mm macro. Now, being a macro lens, I would assume that the aperture won't be any brighter than f2.8, although there is a chance that it could be as wide as f2. This would be a direct competitor to Sigma's excellent 105mm f2.8 macro, which I have in my camera bag and absolutely love. It is one of my favorite lenses. The second lens that they're teasing on their roadmap should be approximately a 28 to 200 or perhaps a 24 to 200 or maybe 250, but I will put my money on it being a 28, which is a little bit disappointing because 24mm is always so much nicer to have than 28. Its position on the roadmap suggests that it will have a variable aperture, probably between f3.5 and f5.6. Hopefully it'll be a little bit brighter, but at least this means that the lens will be relatively affordable, especially compared to their constant aperture lenses. If you're a micro four thirds shooter and you enjoy shooting ultra wide angle, then you'll be happy to know that 7 Artisans are about to release a 7.5mm f3.5 lens. This should be quite an affordable lens, as most 7 Artisan products are. So good news for all micro four thirds shooters, as ultra wide angles are usually quite pricey to get your hands on. Unfortunately, there is no word on just how much this lens will cost at the moment, but 7 Artisans have posted some details along with some sample images on their website. They do say that this is a fisheye lens, but judging from the photographs, it seems that there's only a mild fisheye effect, although it is always very hard to tell from these marketing shots, as they have always been heavily processed. This lens could be a good alternative to the recent release from Laowa, which is a 6mm f2.0D lens, which stands for zero distortion. This lens is the widest rectilinear lens ever made for micro four thirds. Being a bit more technical, this one is bound to cost a bit more than the 7 Artisans. The Laowa is priced at $499, but for that money you get close to no distortion. You also get electrical contacts in the base, which will allow you to transmit the EXIF data, as well as control the aperture via the camera. Such luxuries are not available on the 7 Artisans lens. Another way that the Laowa lens has the edge on the 7 Artisans is that you can screw in a 58mm filter to the front. The front element, judging from the photos of the 7 Artisans lens, is a bulbous front element, meaning that you won't be able to have a screw-in filter, which I think is really important for ultra-wide-angle lenses. Such lenses are mainly used for capturing landscapes, which is typically where most people would want to put a filter on their lens. And finally, for today, I want to mention a company who I don't think get enough love in the camera world at the moment. You really don't see many reviews or hear much about their products, which I think is a shame because they have been around for a very long time. The company I'm talking about is Zenit, and they have released a new version of their old school Swirly Bokeh lens, the Zenitar 75mm f1.4 Helios edition. Now, I'm pretty sure that most of you would remember the old 58mm f2 Helios lens with that M42 screw mount. They've been all over eBay for years and years, and they're really affordable. You can pick one up for 20, 30, 40 quid depending on its condition. I think I managed to pick one up for £35 and it was pretty much brand new. But this new version at the moment is only available for Sony E-mount. And although it's not quite as affordable as the old M42 version, it is still fairly well priced for what you get. I mean, it will set you back €745. Okay, that does still sound like a lot of money, but for an f1.4 portrait lens that can give you beautiful swirly background bokeh, I think this doesn't sound too bad to me. This is a fully manual lens, so there's no autofocus or no electrical contacts in the back to transmit the EXIF data or to be able to control the aperture. The lens is constructed from 6 elements in 4 groups and a close focusing distance of 0.8 meters. That swirly bokeh is created by a 12-bladed aperture and the lens weighs 600 grams. If you're after something that is a little bit different and you want to create stunning portraits, then you really should have a look on the Zenit website. They have quite a few lenses there that might interest you. They certainly do interest me. And that's it from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, or I hope you at least found it useful. If you did, please give us a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more photography, news and reviews. I'm David.
Peace.